here, and I know I'm the only thing standing between the delicious food we have, so I'm going to take Daniel's advice in this case and make it quick. But I want to echo the sentiments of all the other speakers previously. It is a pleasure and a privilege to be here once again with all of you. This is a very, very important event for both the Y and the community. This week, Jews around the world are going to be reading the Torah portion that is called Korach. Korach was Moses' cousin, and he challenged the authority of Moses. Moses was the leader of the Jewish people, but the challenge was not entirely on the merits. He essentially asks Moses, he says, "Moses, who do you think you are? Why do you raise yourself above the community? You should be like everyone else. You're nobody special. You think you're a great leader, God appointed you as a leader, you're really not." And Korach ultimately ends up being swallowed up by the earth. Why? Not because he spoke long at this dinner, but because he argued. But after all, it would be, what was the problem with him arguing? It would be unreasonable to ask anyone to refrain from arguing, especially a religious figure, right? And especially it would be unreasonable to ask someone not to argue with a religious figure. There was nothing wrong with his arguments. But his arguments were fueled by anger and by jealousy of Moses. They were not for the sake of heaven. So when anger gets in the way of our arguments, disaster is guaranteed. And today, as the councilman mentioned, we are dealing today with an excessive and enormous amount of anger in this country and around the world. It is leading us to devastating results. Today, we are all shaken to our core after learning of the news of the attack in London last night. And just last week, we learned of the shooting that took place of a congressman. These tragedies are a manifestation of deep-seated anger. A wise person once said that to hold on to anger is like holding on to a hot coal, hoping you will burn the other person. But in the end, the anger hurts the person who is angry even more. Korach learned this the hard way. And we in the faith communities, Muslims, Christians, Jews, Buddhists, every religion, and all decent human beings must make it our objective to help one another to drop that coal which is burning us, the coal which fuels our anger and ultimately makes us a much weaker, more cynical, and aggressive society. Let us all work to create an environment of tolerance and openness to the ideas of others so that we can continue to debate and argue the important issues of our day for a sacred purpose, which will ultimately enable us to speak to one another and learn from each other and collectively share a vision of fellowship. I conclude with the blessing, Oseh Shalom B'Ramav, V'yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'yivru Amen. May the Holy One who ordains harmony on high grant peace to all of us and to all of humanity. Amen.
Amen.